Hey guys, I've had the Fuji X100VI for a couple of weeks now, and I've also owned the X100V for a few years, and these little X100 cameras are just the most fun cameras to customize and pick up accessories for. So in this video, I wanted to talk about a couple of my favorite accessories that I've been using on my Fuji X100VI. Alright, so probably my favorite accessory to get for the X100VI is this lens hood from Nisi. Over the years, I've tried all kinds of different lens hoods on my X100V, and I've tried the same on my X100VI, and I disliked most of them, coming down to things like they maybe feel too cheap, or they're just too expensive, or they're too awkward to get on and off. And that's why, for me, Nisi have by far made the best lens hood for the X100VI, because yes, it is very aesthetically pleasing. I love this square lens hood look. It reminds me of almost that Leica rangefinder style of camera when you have it on your X100VI. It is very well made. You can tell it's made from some pretty premium metals compared to a lot of the cheap alternatives you'll find on Amazon, but it's also very well thought out and practical too. First of all, a lens hood helps with this lens on the X100VI. It keeps glare out, and that can really reduce the contrast of your images, and a lens hood like this will really help shade it from the sun. But not only that, the main thing that I love about this square hood in particular from Nisi is just how easy it slides on and off. You don't need any external tools like you do with some of the more expensive ones, like from Square Hood themselves. So there may be times when you want to remove this hood, and it is just as simple as popping it off as quick as that. And that's what's special about this lens hood in particular, is that Nisi have built a UV filter into this lens hood system. So that means you have very high quality clear glass in front of your lens. So for me, where this is mainly a travel camera for me, and it's been thrown in and out of backpacks and been hung from my neck, for example, and swinging around, this UV filter on the front of this lens hood really protects that front element from scratches or anything like that. And if you remove the lens hood, again, it's so well thought out because the original Fujifilm lens cap fits right over the top of it. And I almost forgot, the UV filter doesn't stop you adding an additional filter. It has a filter thread in front of it, so you can screw on, for example, your mist filter, just like that on the front of the UV filter, and you can even just slip on the square hood over the top of the extra filter. It's also worth mentioning that the inclusion of that UV filter on the front weather seals your X100VI as well. So that's also great. So yeah, all of those little features combined make this far and beyond my favorite lens hood for the X100VI right now. Another accessory that I would recommend for your Fujifilm X100VI is a thumb grip. This is a compact camera, and I like to keep it that way, so I don't like to add things like grip extenders. But one thing that really helps hold this camera, make it more comfortable in general to use, is a thumb grip. And I've tried so many of these thumb grips, and to be honest with you, none of them are perfect, especially on the X100VI. There are some downsides to all of them, but I have settled with the thumb grip from Square Hood. The main reason I really like this thumb grip is that it doesn't obstruct the rear dial or the rear buttons if you like to back button focus like I do. Square Hood haven't released a new version for the X100VI, so I'm still using the X100V version, and it does a very good job, but it does leave a little bit of a gap in the hot shoe. It is not a perfect fit. So hopefully we'll see a new version of this one soon. The only other thumb grip that I can recommend is from Lensmate. It's a really cool design because you can flip the thumb grip out of the way of the dial and the button, and that really frees up access to those areas. But I just found myself preferring to have something more static like this, but I'll leave a link in the description to that one too. Another one of my favorite accessories for the Fuji X100VI is a mist filter, and the one that I swear by is the Glimmer Glass 1 filter from Tiffen. And again, I've tried so many different mist filters on my X100 cameras, and a lot of them, the effect is either too strong or they just sap all of the contrast out of your images. And for me, the best one that I have tried is the Glimmer Glass 1 filter. I like to try and add as much character to my X100VI photos as much as possible in camera to cut down on editing, and that's where Glimmer Glass comes in, because it brings down highlights, it softens highlights, and it blooms bright areas, giving a really beautiful, almost film-like look to your photos right in camera. And despite doing all of this, it still retains a good amount of contrast. Compared to, say, the Black Pro Mist, which to me just reduces contrast too much, I still like a contrasty image on my X100VI, and the Glimmer Glass gives me that beautiful blooming of highlights and softening of skin details too, which is another reason why I really like it for portraits. It's also a really cool filter to use on a night because it will bloom out city lights and give them an almost glowing look, and it looks really cinematic. Here's a quick look at a shot with no filter at all. So this is without the Glimmer Glass, and now here is a shot with the Glimmer Glass filter, so you can see what kind of effect it gives you. And here you can see the difference that it makes to the lights. It really blooms them out and gives this image a really interesting look. It might not be something that you're into. It is of course down to taste, and I don't use it all the time. I mainly like to use it for portraits and nighttime photography. But if you want a mist filter, in my opinion, Glimmer Glass 1 is the best. Another must-have accessory for the X100VI is a soft release button. Pretty much since day one of owning an X100 camera, I have had a soft release button installed. And for me on the X100VI, I like to focus using a half shutter button press. And the use of a soft shutter button like this just makes it a lot easier to get that in between and achieve focus without accidentally taking a photo. A soft release button just allows me to have more sensitive control over the shutter button. It's a little bit more tactile, and I can really feel when I'm half pressing the shutter. And you can get these in all kinds of different shapes, sizes and colors. And there's nothing really special about this one in terms of its function. It's simply down to aesthetics for me. It's from a brand called JJC, and I really only picked it because I wanted to stick to the silver and black color scheme of the camera, and I felt that this one just looked really at home on my silver X100VI. But I've seen other people use, for example, red ones or ones with different designs on it, so definitely have a look on Amazon or Etsy, for example, and see if there is one that speaks to you individually. Before we crack on and look at the other accessories, I'm just gonna take a quick minute to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, the perfect accessory to your X100VI is a great website to show off your images. And for me, there is no better option out there for photographers than Squarespace. And one of the main reasons I'm always recommending Squarespace is that you don't need any prior knowledge in website coding, building, or designing to get started and create your own awesome looking site. Thanks to Squarespace's intuitive fluid engine, most of the changes you may want to make to your website's design or layout is as simple as drag and drop. Squarespace also offers, in my opinion, the best fully customizable photo galleries that are so easy to set up. You will be showcasing your work to potential clients in no time. And if you have products to sell, whether they are physical or digital products, Squarespace has all the tools you need to build your own unique storefront and start selling quickly and easily. So if you are ready to dive in and start creating your own perfect website, well, head on over to squarespace.com/JamesReader and use the code JamesReader to get 10% off your first purchase of a domain or website. All right, that's it. Thank you to Squarespace. Let's carry on with the rest of the list. Now, another accessory you're gonna need for your X100VI is a neck strap. And my personal favorite look on the X100VI is a leather neck strap. I like to go leather because it just looks cool against the vintage aesthetics of the X100VI, but they're also really, really comfortable if you go with a good brand that uses high quality soft leather. Now, I got mine from a company called Woodgate Camera Straps in the UK. And I have no affiliation to this brand. I just really love the fact that he makes high quality leather straps in different colors and different sizes, and they come with these Peak Design anchors on the end of them. And these Peak Design anchor links were really important to me because I like to be able to get my neck strap on and off quickly. The only downside is you have to have these red anchors on your camera pretty much all the time to be able to attach this strap. And the reason I went with this brand is because there are not many people out there making leather straps of this style with these Peak Design anchor links. So I'm unsure if this company ship outside of the UK, but if you're looking for something similar, then I would probably recommend Etsy. If you just search for leather camera strap with Peak Design anchors, then you'll probably find something similar to this. And now onto wrist strap, which I honestly much prefer over the neck strap, and my favorite by far is the Wandered wrist strap. And the reason I love this one so much is that you don't have to have those annoying jangly Peak Design anchors attached to your camera all the time to use the strap. It comes with this really super strong loop that you just hook through the eyelet of your camera, and it sort of hooks into the strap like this, and that's it. Your wrist strap is attached to the X100VI, and it is just so quick and easy to fully remove it or add it to your camera. So that's the main reason that I love this wrist strap. It means I don't have to have those Peak Design anchors on this all the time, which I think ruin the aesthetic of the camera a little bit. And again, I don't like them jangling around. So I highly recommend this wrist strap from Wandered. And another accessory I love for my X100VI is this Timber Skyline pouch. Now I use this when I'm traveling, or if I just want to throw my X100VI into a backpack. And it might be a regular backpack or a tote bag that's not designed for carrying cameras. I can just put my X100VI in here, and it just protects it from being scratched or from any bumps or anything like that. So to get the right size, you want the Timber Skyline 4 pouch, and this is the version 2, and I've just found this to be an invaluable asset when traveling, when I may have to just throw my X100VI into a bag. I know that it is safe in this little pouch. Another really useful accessory for transporting your X100VI is this carry case from PGY Tech. Now I don't know the exact name of this product, and I'll do my best to find this exact one on Amazon, but I've had this for a few years now, and it was kind of blind luck really that it's worked out so perfectly for me, because it's not designed for the X100VI, but it really does an amazing job of storing your X100VI safely, as well as a bunch of accessories. So as you can see here, it will store your X100VI like this, but with no lens hood, so I've had to take that off. But that stores easily in these mesh pouches above, along with my neck strap, a charger, and in the back, there's plenty of room for batteries, and my wrist strap is stored in this little section in the back, along with some lens wipes. So it stores pretty much everything I need if I'm going traveling and I want to just throw this in a suitcase or a bag. It keeps my entire X100VI kit with me, and it keeps it safe because this is a hard shell, so it's going to keep your camera and your accessories safe when traveling. Now, another thing that I love for carrying around and transporting my X100VI is this D1 fanny pack from Wandered. I like to have a crossbody bag when I'm traveling, say exploring a city or going to the beach or something like that, and I want to bring my X100VI camera with me. I love to use this as a crossbody bag because it fits the X100VI with a hood in this perfectly, along with quite a lot of other stuff too. You can easily get your phone in here and a couple of batteries. It just stores it all nicely. You can flip it around to your back when you want it out the way and flip it around to the front and get your camera out nice and fast when you want it. It's also pretty stylish and understated in my opinion, and also really comfortable and adjustable, and just one of my favorite ways of carrying around the X100VI, particularly when traveling. But it's also amazing for street photography too. It's also completely weatherproof, and it stores a surprising amount. And again, I tried a whole bunch of slings, and this is the most compact and comfortable one that I have used. It really feels tailor-made to the X100VI, so it comes highly recommended from me. Now, there have been a few things on this list that are obviously optional and you really don't need for your X100VI, but this is really something that you shouldn't go without, and that is a screen protector. Now, I'm not even going to try and say the brand of this screen protector. I don't think there's anything particularly special about it. It's just one I bought from Amazon, and I'll leave the link down below. But it is a tempered glass screen protector, and I think you really need one on your X100VI. It doesn't have a flip screen LCD, so you cannot hide that LCD screen away safely. So it's pretty much exposed all the time, so I would highly recommend you put one of these screen protectors on just to avoid that LCD getting scratched, and I would hate for that to happen to your X100VI, so I would highly recommend you get a screen protector. All right, on to batteries and chargers, and the first thing that you may not know if you haven't owned an X100 before is that it flies through batteries, I'm afraid. So first of all, I would highly recommend you pick up at least one spare battery. And of course, you're going to need a charger for those batteries, because in case you didn't know, the X100VI does not come with a battery charger. And the one that I've always used and recommend is the JJC dual charger. Again, I like it because it is USB powered and you can charge 2 batteries at once. But something that I have found invaluable for my X100VI, especially for traveling, is a power bank like this Anker one. I love this particular power bank because it has a USB-C cable built in with power delivery, so it's always just ready to go when you need to charge your camera on the move. There's been times where I've been out and about traveling where I've just thrown my X100VI back in my camera bag and had this plugged in, charging it, ready for its next use. Or maybe I've gone for a meal or a drink and I can just quickly pull this out and charge the camera for a quick 30 minutes, for example, just to get a little bit of extra charge when I'm not using it. It's just a really useful thing to have for travel in general, whether you want to charge your X100VI or your phone or your iPad. Having that built-in cable and the fact that it is pretty high capacity, you can get a couple of charges out of this on your X100VI, makes it just super useful to own. All right, so that is it. They are my favorite accessories for the X100VI. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you have any alternatives to any of these accessories that you think would be a better fit, let me know down below. I'm always on the lookout for new X100VI accessories. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a link down in the description to all of the items that I have mentioned in today's video. I'm not sponsored by any of these brands. This is just through trial and error and process of elimination over the years that I have found that these particular accessories work really well for me. But anyway, that's it. That's the video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one.